Welcome to episode 85 of Rebels Without a Pod, the show that dares ask the question, LA seems like a chill place to live, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Back in the day, still now. Like they fixed all the stuff that they talked about in this movie, right?
Yeah, it's a walk in the park.
All right, yeah. Water's all squared away, lunatics aren't in charge of shit.
Yeah.
Good to hear.
Yeah, I think that sums it up perfectly.
Nice. Tonight, we're starting our new to you Neo-Noir cycle with a light warm-up movie before we get into the full thing. Roman Polanski's Chinatown. A normal, uncomplicated movie made by normal, uncomplicated people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a real popcorn flick.
Yeah.
This is a real easy one.
Yeah. My name's John. Joining me tonight, Andy, who does our artwork and graphic design.
Hey, everybody.
Naveen on music and audio production.
Yeah, hello.
Pod Daddy Eric will not be joining us tonight as he's currently in Los Angeles playing a lonely trumpet down in Echo Park. Ever since he quit his job, this is, you know, we're just this is why we need revenue. Like, you know, he's just our man.
Yeah, he's turned to busking.
Well, you know, a PI getting, you know, $35 a day for his job. I mean, he's rolling in it.
Right,
man.
Right. That was like $50 million back in 1974. The math is right.
Well, the movie took place in the 1930s, right?
Oh, truth. No.
So the movie was done.
That may well be the case then.
Yeah.
Now for one of the darker jokes of the night. We're on Spotify. We're on YouTube. We're on Spotify and we're on YouTube. Dean, maybe cut that out.
Nope, definitely don't.
Leave it in.
Nope, that's fantastic.
Sounds like you've been vetoed.
Please remember to like, comment, subscribe. Gentlemen, the Spotify thing going really great so far, up to 40 hours. We've been on there a month, up to kind of 40 hours, close to like 100 streams at this point. Ladies and gentlemen, however you came to us, you know, we've been saying this the last few episodes. We certainly appreciate it. But for any YouTube listeners, if it is at all just possible, convenient for you to kind of switch over, if you already have like a Spotify account, and give us a few listens on there. We have an on examination that this show sort of deciding that maybe Spotify is a bit of a better kind of fit for just our, you know, kind of 2+ hour audio only sort of kind of collections of just kind of random bullshit and nonsense. So if you don't mind kind of giving us like a listen there, would certainly like help establish us on the platform.
And I know it's the word is subscribe for YouTube, but you know, for those Spotify listeners, follow. Go for it.
Yeah,
please do. And rate it. Yeah, I think it's a 5-star rating system on Spotify, so a little bit different than the like on YouTube. So please do rate us as well, and you know, if you like us, spread the word.
Right. And
don't like it, spread the word.
After that slapping Faye Dunaway joke, how could they not be appreciating like the material we're putting out?
Listen, we're at least a 2-star listen. Come on, guys.
Least, yeah. Gentlemen, we Eric, a little bit last minute, we had our cinema picks for the new to you Neo-Noir cycle. Eric had to go on a bit of a short business trip, so instead we decided, since we through our picks did not actually do anything from like the 1970s, I throw the possibility, since Naveen and Andy, also unseen by them, was Chinatown, that we just kind of take a run at this one as a way to kind of get us started and kind of warmed up to the cycle a bit. So, little background on, like I said, this very, very normal movie. Chinatown is a 1974 neo-noir mystery film directed by Roman Polanski. Synopsis in brief, I've got a couple. Synopsis in brief. A loud, insane, real estate mogul, who's sexually attracted to his daughter, commits widespread, environmentally destructive fraud with the help of complicit civic and police forces while suffering no consequence despite the clear, obvious evidence of his
Yeah.
Synopsis in brief. Bimbo should come back as a thing men call other men. Just and what a point to raise, like on the night that Eric's not actually on the podcast. Guys, other synopsis in brief.
And all of it quicker than a duck's ass. So there's my synopsis in brief. I just love that line when he was talking to her, or the other one, phony broad. Excuse the language. It's like, oh yeah, that was quite harsh.
Maybe for 1937.
Yeah, yeah. That's all I got.
That's just how men introduce themselves to women in the street.
Yeah.
Different time, different era.
Right.
And any synopses from you?
I didn't prepare one, but it's something along the lines of synopsis in brief. Just a really nice family story.
Yeah.
Just, yeah.
Sit down, wife and kids.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you could, if you have to choose between watching Zootopia 2 or watching Chinatown with the littles, I'd maybe give Chinatown a shot.
Well,
yeah, nothing about her,
yeah,
just
no, it's light fare.
Nothing about Zootopia 2 that certainly inspired family unfriendly thoughts.
Well,
at least not on record with this podcast.
Maybe for one of us.
Well, okay. Well, all synopsis in brief. James Hong was like, maybe San Francisco would be a better fit. Maybe living underneath San Francisco would be a better fit.
Low pond.
I kept on forgetting to write down that Hong was in this movie, and he kept on like disappearing, then coming back into the movie multiple times. And at each point, I'm like, fuck, I need to write this down and get like a Big Trouble in Little China joke in at the intro.
It took me a little while to place who he was, because he was so much younger than I was used to seeing him.
Right.
Yes.
A young, spry, 74 years old in this film.
Right.
Yeah.
But it hit me. I was like, holy shit, it's Lo Pan.
Wait, seriously?
No, he was not 74.
I was going to say, I'm like, wow, that guy aged well.
Right.
He's
or
100
terribly
now?
depending. You look it up, he's actually like 32.
Yeah.
In any kind of case, like the man is American treasure. This film stars Jack Nicholson and Faye Dunaway. Supporting performances from John Huston, John Hillerman, Perry Lopez, Burt Young, James Hong, and Diane Ladd. Chinatown received widespread acclaim for its direction, screenplay, cinematography, and performances, and led the 47th Annual Academy Awards with 11 nominations, including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, and Best Actress, ultimately winning for Best Original Screenplay. It was a immediate commercial success as well. Adjusted for inflation, its domestic gross by sort of current dollars is estimated to be approximately $146 million. It's often regarded as one of the best overall noir films and one of the best American films of the 20th century. 4 stars from Roger Ebert's retrospective review, with special praise for Nicholson's performance. Giddys becomes a man, Ebert writes, who just wants to get to the bottom of things. He's tired of people's lies. And where does he stand with Evelyn Mulray, played by Dunaway as a cool, elegant woman who sometimes, especially when her father is mentioned, seems fragile as china? First, he's deceived by the fake Evelyn Mulray, and then by the real one. Her father, the millionaire, is played by Huston with treacly charm and mean little eyes. There was a luncheon where he serves Geddes a fish with the head still on, the eyes regarding the man about to eat it. Quote, just as long as you don't serve the chicken that way, quips Geddes. I'm very, very excited to kind of talk about this movie. We should kind of do the kind of quick Roman Polanski boilerplate, I think, before we get into it. I was kind of like tempted to kind of do like on like the Pete Holmes podcast, like the Polanski boilerplate that he did was just, Roman Polanski, comma, controversy noted.
Yeah.
But, let's just kind of leave it at, this is a talented guy with a tragic and hugely fucked up life but also did a lot of really kind of heinous, evil shit. If this movie was just kind of like the product purely of kind of like his work, I don't think it would be kind of worth covering on the podcast. But I would say that, given like the fact that this film is the product of kind of so many talented people, like on top of the directing, with kind of like the nominated performances by Nicholson and Dunaway, by the Robert Towne script that is largely kind of regarded as like one of the best screenplays kind of written in the English language, cinematography by John Alonzo, the music by kind of Jerry Goldsmith, production by it's kind of very, very famous 70s Hollywood producer kind of Robert Evans. This movie kind of compositionally, just by itself, is just a really kind of like incredible piece of art, and it's no doubt been hugely influential, like on a lot of world film, including some of the movies we're going to be talking about like over the next few weeks. I think if you gentlemen agree with me, we can kind of just leave it at this. This is a important movie made by a bunch of talented people, one of whom should have just kind of spent like the rest of his life in prison since 1979.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Controversy noted.
Controversy noted. So, all right, general impressions, and I'm really kind of interested to kind of hear this from you guys. Naveen, both of you had not seen this. Naveen, you want to go first? What did you think about Chinatown?
Sure, I will go first. But first off, I want to say that probably Johnny picked this movie so he could get vindication off of the pronunciation that it's Mulray. All right.
Mulray.
Bill Mulray.
An actual riff on Mulholland. So like one of the things it actually kind of takes from the original LA sort of just water supply kind of like a kind of scandal like the 1900s.
Gotcha. Oh, my connection was Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Now that I
more old world,
dumber than I was before, but smarter because I've learned about that Mulholland and all that. This we talked a little bit last night, Johnny, real quick, but I'll go into more in depth. This for me started off. Actually, for the most of it, it was kind of slow, but it was dense in just material and thought, not dense like dumb or anything, but just there was so much going on, and it was so interesting, even though it was kind of slow for a 2-hour, 10-minute movie. I'm like, all right, I would have feelings of like, is it done yet? Are we done yet? And things, but at the same time, I was having thoughts of like, all right, what's going to happen next? This is interesting. And I had usually I try to think about with these movies, all right, who done it? Where's done it? Why? Trying to figuring it out before it's revealed.
When you watch these, you try to keep like a little bit ahead of the story and what's going on.
Right. And there were just many times that, I couldn't do it and I was caught off guard and not there with it. So in the end, it was kind of long and slow, but it was really cool. It was really well done. I'm glad I finally saw the movie, and it was definitely a good movie in my mind, and definitely glad I watched it. I'm not so sure I'd go back to it just because it is so kind of thick in there.
It's dense. There is a lot of story in this.
Right. If I did, I'd probably would break it up a little bit, or it'd probably. I know Andy had mentioned it in his Mile High bit on The Godfather, that maybe this movie, if it's done now, might be a two-parter. Sure.
Yeah. Interesting little factoid about this. I actually downloaded the script for Chinatown as kind of like part of like the ramp up of this thing. It's 118 pages. Like I said, kind of regarded as kind of one of the best ever written American screenplays. The original version of the screenplay, though, was about 320 pages, so it's distilled down a lot from that content. So it is particularly kind of relative to I think like a lot of what we cover on the show. It's It's very, very dense. There's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of things you have to kind of infer. It may be like a little bit challenging, but this is one that I kind of wanted to bring to you guys to just sort of see to sort of see how you felt about it and see what kind of that challenge represented for you. So Andy, how about yourself? Just general impressions. What do you think about this one?
What a movie. I mean, this one knocked my socks off. I loved it. I would say this is, I don't have the listing, the ranked listing that you do, Johnny, of like favorites of the year or whatever. But I think I would go out on a limb and say this is my favorite movie I've watched this year.
No shit.
Yep.
Look at that.
I really just I was all in from the jump. Yes, Naveen, it does move slowly. Yes, it is super dense. Yes, it is, no, it's not the easiest watch necessarily. And there's some pretty heavy themes and all of that. But I mean, talk about a masterfully written, directed, acted movie. I'm conflicted in saying that because again, we all, we talked about Polanski at the beginning. I'm not usually
we've kind of done that.
Yeah.
Right. It's all that is kind of like fantastic here. You did have your comment, I think, when we were watching Enter the Dragon, like a few weeks back, that you're like, there was something about the 70s that is just interesting and smart and kind of gritty and grounded. It doesn't necessarily have the polish we're accustomed to from the 80s on. When you were watching Chinatown, did you have kind of similar thoughts?
I actually, even though I knew, consciously that it was made in the 70s, I was lifted completely out of the 70s, put right back into the 1930s, late 1930s California. So I guess as I look back on it, maybe there was some of that, that was kind of seeping in subconsciously, but I mean, I was all in. It reminded me a lot of there was a video game that I played that was a Rockstar game. The name was
Neo-Noir.
Yes. Yeah. Where it threw me right into that game. That game was terrible. Just a total turd, in my opinion. But
I played Neo-Noir front to back as well. I'm not going to call it a turd. I will call it complicated, but like that is a game that was such a technical accomplishment in that gameplay and like a lot of other decisions aside, and also like a thing that was headed by a person that turned out to be like a complete abusive maniac later. The work that video game did to kind of replicate what 1930s LA was in terms of like the buildings and the outfits and the cars and everything else, and also to my memory, a story that borrowed like an awful lot from Chinatown. I mean, LA Noir's a whole different conversation there, but yeah.
For sure. But yeah, so anyway, long story short, if I'm doing my letter, boxed lunch, 4.5 stars for me.
4.5. Wow.
Yeah. And I don't, again, I'm not the most consistent with my rankings. So 4.5 stars probably puts it up there with some real heavy hitter movies.
Your last 4.5 star ranking to my memory was Lost Boys.
Well, there you go.
You'll really kind of get no argument from me. Like
there you go.
I think both are quite deserving.
Yeah. No. So this thing is a masterpiece. Not something I probably would have ever gone back to watch on my own.
Right.
So yes, thank you, Johnny, for suggesting it. Nailed it. Slam dunk.
Yeah. Oh, very cool. Yeah, I mean, I'll just Andy said kind of my thoughts as well. It's sort of like in a nutshell. This movie is like a little bit of a challenge, kind of both of you guys have spoken to it. I watched it over the course of 2 nights, and I, even having kind of seen it before and kind of knowing like the broad strokes, paused it a couple times just to go on the Wikipedia page and read sort of kind of like and kind of gave myself like a paragraph recap of myself of just what happened in like the last 10 minutes to just kind of really make sure that I was totally on track for everything that was happening. And in my episode notes later, I tried to kind of summarize every kind of major plot point here, and I'm counting about a dozen-line paragraph, just of me writing like kind of the shortest sort of bullet points possible in this. But yeah, a movie that is set in the 1930s, reflects something that happened in LA in like the 1900s, made in the 1970s, but just still feels relevant, still feels prescient, in just kind of terms of the themes, the stories, like a thing that is kind of so accomplishes it every moment, like a movie that is kind of dense in its plot, it's dense in its imagery, and it's dense in its themes. But I think just one I kind of really enjoy, because you could just kind of, I think, watch this on the surface and just let the experience kind of wash over you. But also, I've been listening to so many different podcasts and much more talented people than us kind of discussing this movie over like the last few days. Just about any scene or just about any set of ideas, you can kind of stop on the one particular part of the film, kind of drill down to it, and just really kind of find like so much there, kind of just happening under the hood.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Let's.
I'm going to interrupt you there before you go on to the. I'm assuming you're going on to the talking points, but have you seen the sequel to this, Johnny?
The sequel, The Two Jakes. They tried to get made for like a very long time. Polanski was attached for a bit. Then, for reasons we don't need to get into here, he fled America for Europe in 1979. The Two Jakes got made in 1990 with Jack Nicholson directing, co-starring with Harvey Keitel, Meg Tilly, and Madeline Stowe, if I remember correctly. A movie that I haven't seen, really flopped. Critics didn't like it. Nobody went to see it. I watched the trailer last night, and I read like the plot summary this morning. Doesn't sound like something that we're really gonna need to spend any time with. But what about yourself?
No, I haven't seen it because I just watched it for the first time of Chinatown. So,
Right.
But I was just curious to see how they did it. You know, did it pick up from where this left off, considering the events of how it ended, Chinatown. Or is it just using the character in a new, different story kind of thing? But yeah.
One quick second here. I'm going to look something up.
Yeah. So I was just curious if you had seen it or not. I was, I figured considering it was 16 years later that it finally got made, it would probably not be as well written and done well.
Right.
But I was just curious more of the storyline, if it picks up where this one left off.
It sort of does. It sort of doesn't. Spoiler for a movie that nobody really watched or liked at all, but Meg Tilly at the end of it is actually revealed to be Catherine Cross, which was Elvin Rolway's daughter.
Yeah.
So it kind of kicks in, but everybody I think was kind of simultaneously, sort of stupid and wasn't really like a thing that people thought was a unnecessary addition to the Chinatown.
Right.
So talking points real quick. Discuss how the plot functions like a peeling onion. Unlike standard procedurals where kind of what Naveen was just describing, where you're trying to identify who is the villain, what's the thing that they're building for. In this movie, every answer Gittes finds only reveals a deeper and more disturbing layer of rot. So who would like to elaborate on that?
So I mean, I guess just when you think you're getting to, or just when you think Gittes is getting to the heart of the case and kind of like about to crack it open, a new worse thing happens or is discovered. You've got an adultery case, starts off as an adultery case. Then they have Mulray's death,
which the fisherman can't pay him for until he catches some better fish.
That's right. Yeah. Then it goes to Mulray's death, which suggests, the murder tied to the water management. Then the water conspiracy reveals land speculation and like this sort of civic corruption, which then leads to
exploitations of the elderly.
Yep. then it goes into the family secrets piece with the whole Cross family and the daughter sister thing, and it's just like this continually shittier reality. And ultimately it ends in a bummer of an ending, honestly, which they could have taken the easy way out and try to, they could have put Cross in prison, or they could have had him killed, he's dead at the end or something like that. And the fact that they ended up with Evelyn dead, and Cross gets away, and I don't know, it's just this whole, like you said, this whole bloomin' onion of worse and worse scenarios or circumstances that ends pretty bleak.
Geddes is at every point in this film just getting further and further away from actually being able to solve or fix the entire thing.
Yep. It's like it's deliberately denying the audience some kind of resolution, or like a happy, some sort of satisfying ending, like you would normally get in the typical everyday detective fare.
Well, we talked a little bit about when we were kind of doing our childhood trauma episodes, and we talked about the introduction, like the PG-13 rating. We talked a little bit about like the Hays Code, which had only expired about sort of 6 years prior. A prominent part of the instruction the Hays Code gave filmmakers was evil cannot win at the end of these movies. So this is the ability to even kind of like end an American film like that was only relatively recent.
Well, and they'd also, I read something about, and forgive me if I'm paraphrasing or if I get this a little bit wrong, but there was something going on at that point too. There was some kind of law or statute or something that said that you weren't allowed to portray the police or politicians.
That was part of the Hays Code. Like the police could not be sort of like any law enforcement basically could not be sort of portrayed in like a negative light.
Right, and they kind of bucked that trend a little bit with this movie. They decided to kind of go for it anyway.
Yeah. Naveen, anything? This movie, like peeling an onion. Anything to add there?
I mean, not really. I mean, you can peel the onion, but then we should probably put a spoiler on this question, just because if you peel the onion, you're gonna
spoiler for everything in Chinatown going forward.
Right.
Yeah.
Although we have already mentioned that Evelyn gets shot in the back of the head.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Retroactive spoiler alert.
Right.
But I mean, I really can't add much to it. It is just going down the line. I think this movie did it well in the fact that, it would add new characters, but it would help the plot as opposed to kind of take away from the plot as well. So it really, the way it was just transitioned from one thing to the next, and the clues, the whole premise of it, I think helped in having all those layers, and then going down this huge rabbit hole of trying to figure out what is going on in the end, and just the dirt and grime of the politics, the family relationships, the money, and follow the money or whatever. It was just just a lot. I couldn't really say much more than what Andy had said, that just that huge rabbit hole of, and the peeling the onion of, and finding more and more rot.
Everything just gets worse and worse.
It's worse and worse. It's just, it's what I think what makes the movie. Without it, you probably loses it.
Right. Without that, you have something considerably less memorable. Yeah. Spoiler for the two Jakes from what I read on Wikipedia. It ends with everything like a happy ending, and everything kind of gets resolved. And Meg Tilly, who, like I said, is revealed to actually be Catherine Mulray at the end of the film, tries to kiss Jake Geddes, and he's like, no. And she's kind of smiles at him and kind of walks out the door. And that's how they wrap up that thing.
Yeah, after he'd already had relations with her sister mother.
He to my understanding, at no point in the film says "Get the fuck away from me, incest baby," but I think like it's a little bit implied.
Got it.
Really interesting. So a little bit on sort of Polanski's background in the headspace that he was in making this movie. He, like I said, chill film made by chill people. Polanski was born in, I believe it's 1933, Poland. So he saw like a little bit of shit coming up. His mother and childhood best friend, were dragged away by the SS and died in concentration camps. His father was also taken by the SS, although they were kind of reunited later in his life. So that's something he certainly carried with him into adulthood. And also, just like about a year or two prior to this, he was married to actress Sharon Tate. He was in Europe for like a little bit, doing direction for an opera. While he was there, Sharon Tate and their unborn child were killed by the Manson family. That's something they kind of came back to. Nobody on the production, except for Polanski, wanted this thing to have the ending that it actually did. Robert Towne thought he had written a happy ending. He thought the idea of just ending it this bleakly was kind of appalling. Robert Evans also would constantly kind of get to screaming matches. He's like, this will torpedo our commercial chances with this film if you end this movie in such a miserable manner. Polanski kind of stuck to his guns. He didn't even kind of shoot a happy ending with this thing, and the movie is that better remembered and that like kind of much more regarded because of it, I think.
This is a better movie with the ending. I mean, obviously we don't have anything to compare it to, but
right.
I think if this somehow gets wrapped up in a nice pretty bow at the end, it kind of cheapens everything that you learn throughout it.
Nothing about it is thematic. Nothing about it is appropriate for the rest of the story. Polanski has said in interviews, at the end of Chinatown, he's like, Noah Cross gets away from it because what I saw in Nazi-controlled Europe growing up, men like that would always get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well,
yeah. Next talking point. For a huge portion of the film, Geddes has a giant bandage on his face. What does it say about his vulnerability and the mark that the city leaves on him?
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning of the film, especially in the barbershop scene, he's defending himself and saying, I'm making an honest living. People hire me to do this. I don't go out and do it and try to ruin people's lives.
Calls him a bimbo in that scene, which is, again, a thing men should get back to calling each other.
Definitely.
But again, he's not, he's just defending himself that he's righteous and doing the right thing. And again, that he's not trying to hurt people's lives. He's being hired to try to help them and find answers. And then as he's gotten pretty much duped from the beginning, he was used by, whoever either the father or the,
or like the fake Evelyn and then the real Evelyn.
Right. To get him to what he, just to get him in there and be a scapegoat in the end. But it kind of looks like it's, something was much bigger than what he could handle. And the other side is that they kind of always made Chinatown itself. Like they alluded to it and then they ended there in Chinatown as if it's like a cesspool thing. Like he can't get away from it.
Not even so much like a cesspool as a thing that was just, I think for them as police officers working there, we really don't understand most of what's going on. And it's probably best for us to just kind of largely stay out of it.
Right. But that's where it sounded like he started his job as a police officer was in Chinatown and he got out of it. And that's, where he ended this case that he was working on, but everything that he did got him down there. So there are some places where you just can't leave, I guess. They always come back to haunt you. And
it's also kind of implied that when he was stationed in Chinatown, there was something that happened with a different woman that he wasn't able to save it. It's like the detail, the exact detail of that is certainly never made clear. You can certainly kind of use your imagination for what might have been going on down there, like back in the 1930s.
Right. So just him wanting to do his job and do it well and do the right thing. He's got the mark of, going down a hole and trying to do the right thing, but it may not be the best situation and then he gets that mark basically of this bandage the whole time.
Well, what's his line? Like, I like my nose. I like breathing through it.
Yeah.
Andy, anything to add to that?
One thing that I think that noir movies in general, neo-noir movies, detective movies, whodunit type things are famous for doing is taking the detective and just making them just so cool and like, slick, and they always say the right thing and whatever.
They always light up the cigarette at the right time.
That's right. Having
that ditzy dame had gams from here to ya.
Exactly. So, the fact that he's got this kind of goofy big bandage that breaks up this otherwise very slick, persona, this very cool persona, I think it makes him more vulnerable because he's not that cool detective that he was. He looked.
Let's also say this though: 74 Jack Nicholson, handsome as hell,
super handsome dude.
Right,
yep,
right.
Absolutely. It also sort of, I guess, I feel like there's a bit of foreshadowing with the knife cut and then the subsequent bandage because basically like despite his best efforts, the things that he comes up against are just bigger than he is. The wound is sort of an early sign that he can't win against these things that he's going up against. He's powerless. He just as he's powerless to this big goon that holds his arms behind him and this little guy that comes up and slices his nose with a stiletto.
The little guy, actually Roman Polanski.
Yeah, right. That's right. Yeah, so it's sort of like a visual into a representation of his powerlessness, of his of this knowledge that comes at a cost. Basically of the entire of the peeling of the onion that we talked about in the last portion.
There are kind of so many idioms in the English language that that you're involved doing shit that you shouldn't be doing, and your nose, just a couple, being nosy, sniffing around, don't stick your nose out, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, he is literally kind of damaged and punished on his nose for kind of like doing like these exact things. And he has accumulated scars. He has like real kind of battle damage because of it. There's an interesting thing kind of related to that. I think with kind of like despite the fact he gets knifed very, very early in like the movie, despite the fact he gets into multiple fights, gets kind of chased down multiple times. Geddes is a guy that does have a code, does have a sense of morality, and that does have kind of limits in what he does. I think it's kind of like an interesting detail that Geddes at no point in the film carries a gun or even a knife. That he just has nothing to kind of defend himself. I mean, he gets his ass beaten repeatedly in like multiple situations, but at no point does that inspire. I mean, he's a guy who kind of does believe in society and does believe in the rules, and sort of like is part of that. I mean, it's a kind of looking at it from like a 2026 perspective, it's like a little bit insane. But he's just like, when like the farmers are stripping him down, they like find his weapon. All they pull out of his coat and pants are notebooks.
The cigarettes.
Yeah, right.
Little cigarette container there, and yeah.
He does, however, have a glove compartment full of pocket watches.
Yeah.
So there's that. As one does.
That was really cool, though. I'm like, I saw that in the beginning. I'm like, what?
He knew a guy in Chinatown. Guaranteed, he knew a guy in Chinatown.
Yeah, that was a learned behavior. Someone taught him that.
Right.
Did anybody catch what like the single line of dialogue that he has with James Hong, where he's just going to yell something at him in Chinese?
No,
it's a blink and you miss it. It's the second time he goes to the house where they're keeping Catherine Mulray, and James Hong is coming down the stairs. He sort of comes rushing in, and he spits like it's a blink and you miss it kind of detail, but it's pretty great.
Oh, I
heard him yell something, but I don't know what he said. Do you have the translation?
Not on hand, no.
No, yeah. I didn't either. But to shout out that watch scene again, it was just really cool because I didn't understand what it was until afterwards.
Right.
I was trying to figure out like when he left, and then the broken watch. They go back, get the broken watch. It's like, oh, he left at this time, and man, he spent a long time there.
It's like a similar thing when he kicks out one of Evelyn's tail lights so he can kind of trail her in the dark.
Yeah.
It took me a minute to figure out what he was doing there, but I was like, oh, that's a brilliant move. That's really smart.
It's really, really simple. There's kind of nothing to it, but yeah, you think about that for like 2 seconds. So you're like, oh, that would make it like just insanely easier.
Well, and that's the work of someone who's done this before. This is a guy who who knows that this trick works. He's used it a million times.
Was on the police department and was a PI for like a really long time.
Yeah.
Traditional noir is all about shadows and rain. Chinatown is drenched in the blinding Los Angeles sun, a complete inversion of that aesthetic. How does this sense of sun, heat, add to the feeling of dread? How does this how does this contribute to making the movie as effective as it actually is?
That was actually part of the movie that I really liked a lot. Because every time I think of a noir movie, it's rainy, it's dark, it's nighttime, right. It's
supposed to be Chicago or New York or Baltimore or some northern city where the weather is just shitty all the time.
Yeah, but it was like it was basically like the brightness, the light suggests it has this like things are transparent. Like if it's in the light, you're gonna see the corruption, you're gonna fix the whatever, but it just persists and persists and persists right there in plain sight. The audience
he can't figure out what's happening in the broad light of day.
That's right. And the audience realizes, pretty quickly that the problem isn't necessarily secrecy. It's just the power to cover it up. It's it's pushing stuff under the rug. I think it was very cool that Polanski and the writers and, whoever else made the decision to go that route really stuck with it, because the whole movie has sort of a washed out feel to it.
Yep.
I read I don't know if this is stepping on anybody's Vigos, but I read a quick thing that basically said I don't know if it was the studio or if it was, whoever it was the first pass of the edit of this, the beginning of this movie, they tried to add a little bit of red into it, similar to what they did with The Godfather. If you watch The Godfather, there's definitely kind of a sheen of red that covers the entire movie. And Polanski said, absolutely not. You have to clean that up. You've got to take that out. This movie has to be seen as,
it has to be bright
light of day,
sun drenched. Right.
Yeah. So even though they wanted him to do it that way because it was such a kind of a popular aesthetic with Godfather, that he stood his ground and said no.
Yeah. The Godfather is something we definitely need to kind of swing back to during the Vigos later on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Naveen, anything to add to that?
I guess to add to it is just the underlying premise and the whole, I guess the whole idea of, not the whole idea of the story, but one of the main aspects of the story is just that drought and the loss of water and what to do about that. I think this being in the bright sun kind of helps bring that dread.
The sun is this powerful force that literally steals water by evaporation.
Right. Yeah. So I think it kind of adds to that feeling with, oh man, what's going on with this water? And then you get to the deeper part of it. It's like, oh, they're diverting water to get to this land to do this. And then you get to the deeper part of the incest. And it just, so I think that's where the being bright in the sun kind of helps bring out that, that dread and feeling of dread where, you're getting, it just brings it out deeper and deeper as you get deeper into these layers that, again, from that first question you had.
It keeps occurring over and over again in the film.
Right.
Yeah. I heard one podcast. It was on the Unspooled podcast. They had a really interesting hypothesis. Is that in some ways this is almost more of a horror movie than a noir movie. But the idea is that this is a horror movie where the monster where the thing stalking everybody is water. Just about every scene is defined either by the presence or the absence or the threat of water. Even like some kind of scenes like you wouldn't expect when he comes into the woman who faked being the original like Evelyn Mulwray Ida. He comes into her apartment. You hear water dripping very kind of quietly the entire time. Or the first time he goes to Hollis and Evelyn's mansion, and there was a woman for whatever insane reason cleaning a car without using any water at all, just making kind of these dry sort of squeaking sounds, like just kind of polishing like the hood of the car. Sunlight, heat, evaporation. You usually see poor people or people without power. The little Mexican boy on the horse, the farmers in the orange grove, Ida having little water, or leaking water. Cross and Hollis, on the other hand, they have sprinklers. They have ponds. They have places that they can kind of sit in the shade. They can get out of the sun. They have like access to like this sort of rare and kind of privileged thing that nobody else can really get their hands on at all. Also, and just even from kind of like the start, you know, just kind of what like this movie does this in kind of so many like different and interesting ways. But right at the start of the movie, the fisherman is trying to catch better fish like tuna so he can pay off kiddies. Noel Cross, meanwhile, literally owns a place called the Albacore Club. He's the one that is in control of the water and like everything like inside the water. So this is one of the most famous quotes out of the movie. This is something that Cross says to Geddes towards the end of the film. Most people never have to face the fact that at the right time, in the right place, they are capable of everything. This has kind of been raised as a quote that sort of kind of relays one of like the core ideas of the movie. Could you guys elaborate on that at all? Like any thoughts around that sort of particular quote, what it means, and just how it kind of connects to some of the films that we see, the themes that we see here?
This one I kind of had a tough time with.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it didn't seem like Geddes was in the right place at the right time, because I suppose he was, but again, he was an officer in Chinatown and then chose to do PI work outside of it. He didn't want to be there. And then I guess he made a name for himself and did well, that eventually, whenever this scenario of trying to find Mulray's granddaughter slash daughter happened, that, you know, they chose him because he was, I guess, doing a really good job for his skills and could figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that could be considered right place, right time. But in the end, Geddes didn't seem like he enjoyed being duped and wanted to get down to the truth. So he kind of put himself like, I'm going to find out what's going on and who's trying to use me and take me down or do whatever, more so than, you know, he just happens to be in the right place at the right time.
Right.
So that was my take on it, that, you know, he was going down that rabbit hole, peeling the onion, as we have been for our theme for this episode.
We're bringing up repeatedly, but somehow not making a Shrek joke.
Right.
Not our generation so much. It's fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
So he's going down this rabbit hole because he wants to, and he wants to learn the truth and know the truth and be helpful, be that, I guess, police officer mentality that, you know, what drove him to be that profession in the first place, to serve, to protect, and to help.
Andy, what do you think about this quote?
So, I mean, I actually kind of struggled with this one too, a little bit, but, you know, I guess the way I thought about it was that if people are capable of anything, meaning, you know, despite anyone's best intentions, despite anyone's, you know, moral compass, the way if they were brought up, you know, properly, and they God-fearing and, you know, Bible thumping and the whole 9 yards, if put into a situation where, or there are situations that they could be put in at some point in their life where they could make decisions that go against that moral compass, or against those, you know, rights and wrongs that they've spent their whole life. I mean, like, you look at somebody like Noah Cross, like, you know, it starts off that he's just manipulating the city's water supply to enrich himself, and that's shitty. Like, that's a objectively
evil and self-serving and criminal,
super self-serving. But at the same time, it's like, oh, well, he's just a rich guy trying to get richer. And then it comes to light that he, you know, has committed incest with his daughter, and his daughter now has a daughter who is his granddaughter, or, well, his daughter as well, I guess. Right. And her, you know,
podcasts on YouTube and Spotify.
Right. So, you know, it's like, and this guy just continues to live his life. He continues to be successful and wealthy and well taken care of, respected, and he just continually does worse and worse things. And it's like, you know, that when he was a kid, I'm sure in his mind he didn't see himself becoming a water baron and you know, someone that commits incest. And yet something he was presented with a series of opportunities, and he took them,
Right.
and led him down the road of just becoming a real, just a real awful human.
Right.
And I guess what it says is human nature is sort of, it's maybe darker than we even think it is, than we assume it is.
That was pretty much kind of my read as well. I mean, there are the version of this theme you kind of see more often in movies when it says in the right place at the right time, you're capable of anything. That's usually an instinct born of fear, born of desperation. Like the mother lifting up the burning car to save her child, like that kind of thing. But I think kind of what Cross is kind of stating to Geddes in those things is most people do not experience real power. Most people do not experience real privilege. It's this idea that can just kind of morality and moral superiority is a product of like not so much about what you decide to do as what you're kind of more or less compartmentalized by society from like actually doing. I kind of read, just in this movie, Geddes is a guy who he thinks he understands the rules. He thinks he understands like the laws. He just kind of gets checked or thwarted at every point. Versus kind of what Noah Cross represents is the more kind of primal, unchecked power within society that kind of operates outside of society, outside of this world. This guy has so much money. I love that conversation that he has with Geddes. With Geddes is just like, how much more money do you need? What else would you want to buy? How much better can you eat? And Geddes comes and Cross comes back with this completely the same, like the future. I can control the future. Aha.
That is such a great line in that movie. I wish I had written it down, because when it was said in the movie, I just thought to myself, like, how could there be a better encapsulation of where we are today? It's like, how much more can you have? How much more do you need?
And this is looking, just looking at a society where in like the past 50 years, all that shit has gotten much worse and much extreme, but much more extreme. But what I think you're really kind of seeing with Geddes, kind of like sort of what Cross basically saying to Geddes is like, you don't know what power is, and you would probably do that same shit if you had my privilege, if you had my wealth, if you were kind of in my shoes. And I think that in turn sort of speaks to like a lot of what Polanski was probably contending with him, with just his memory of growing up in fascist Europe, where he saw these completely out of their mind, primal, unchecked men just kind of basically wreak havoc. Here's a little bit of a connection going a couple episodes back, but this is kind of like in the same way. What was Woody Harrelson's character's name in Kingpin?
Munson.
Well, this is a little bit of a Munson versus a Big Earn fight in the same kind of thing, right? Because like Munson is a guy with kind of like a non-insane dude with morality and limits, and he's just kind of at the bottom of the barrel the entire time, where just as opposed to Billy Boy in the movie, he has had nothing but a successful career. He's fucked Vanessa Angel at one point. He stayed famous the entire time. Like, he's such a powerful and elemental force that the actor portraying Big Earn was actually able to bowl 3 strikes in a row in front of the crowd, like the way that his character was like fucking like actually like expected. It's a the Moby Dick story is about a thing of just the folly and the futility of just going up against such an elemental force and convincing yourself, I'm going to be able to win. I'm going to be able to get my lick back against like this thing.
Yeah.
Maybe the first time in history that Chinatown and Kingpin have been contrasted with one another.
Well, there's a million better podcasts about Chinatown like out there in the world than this one, but let's put that down as our mark. Let's put that
That's
down
right.
as our own little wrinkle.
That's right.
Anything else to kind of say before we get to Viggo's toes about this movie?
I'm not the brightest guy in this pod here, but I don't have a lot, but it'd probably be one that could be, and probably should be, maybe not necessarily should be, but a two-parter. I just watched it for the first time last night, and as we mentioned in the beginning, so dense, and there's so many things to take in that maybe a second watch or a third watch would help me.
This one is really a 3-course meal.
Just to really process and figure out and see what was going on, to really dive into adding more to it. But in the end, all I can really say is that I'm glad I watched it. So yeah, just like Andy had mentioned, probably would not have done it on my own really, but so thank you, Johnny, for suggesting it. But it is a good movie, and for the listeners out there now on Spotify and YouTube and everything, just it's actually an interesting one to go back and check out. And I probably recommend, I don't know where the halfway or best point would be, but probably take in small bits if you need to, instead of trying to do it all in one.
Have the Wikipedia page, like honestly, 2 nights, Wikipedia pulled up, watch it for 10 minutes, pause it, read a recap of what just happened, and then just kind of keep going. I think that's yeah. But
it's a recommend for me and for the listeners, that it's probably one that should be on your list.
Right. I would say this also kind of relative to the density of the other movies we're covering. I can't speak personally to The Long Good Friday, which was my pick, but for the other 3 movies that we do have on the docket, nothing is quite as dense. We're really leading with a complex carbohydrate on like this particular cycle. Andy, closing thoughts before we get to Viggo's.
I said something similar after I watched The Godfather, and I'll say it for this one too. If you're a fan of movies, just the history of movies and kind of, you can never be a completionist, obviously, because there's too many movies for everybody to see. But if you were looking at the list of things that you should watch if you love movies, I think this one absolutely is on that list. In my opinion, it's pretty high on that list.
It doesn't feel like homework either, I would say. Like this,
I don't think so. No, and that was actually something I was a little bit concerned about with this one. When you said we're gonna watch this, I went, okay, it's gonna be one where I'm gonna be glad I watched it, but like, it's gonna whatever. It's history, and I'm glad that I'm able to see it. But man, like I said, I sat through the whole thing, and it could have been another hour, and I'd have been fine with it.
Oh, really, awesome.
Loved it. Just loved it.
It really kind of makes me happy hearing that, Andy.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's kind of get to Viggo's toes, and there's a couple things about this movie. There is. Do either of you guys know The Godfather fact? Let's start out there. I'll do it if you don't.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Guess what movie Jack Nicholson turned down to star in Roman Polanski's Chinatown?
The Godfather.
Kingpin.
Or Coppola's the famous time machine having Jack Nicholson. This is the whole thing, like that. Just don't you have enough?
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Come on.
And Andy, who recently saw Godfather, reviewed it in his Mile High Club segment. Can you guess what role Irish ass Jack Nicholson was very tall, former volunteer firefighter Jack Nicholson was slotted to play in Francis Ford Coppola's The Godfather?
The only role that even would possibly jump to mind would be the role that. What's that?
It's not Sonny.
No. The one that jumps to mind is the one that Robert Duvall plays.
Oh, Tom Hagen?
Yeah.
It was not Tom Hagen either. He was in line to play Michael Corleone.
Really?
Made famous by another young contemporary actor, Al Pacino. He took a look at the script, and he's just like, no, this should go to an Italian guy. This should not go to me.
I mean, yeah.
He had access to the script also because he and Robert Towne were roommates at the time. They had met in an acting class. They were like good buddies. They lived together for like a little bit. Town simultaneously was working on the scripts for The Godfather and Chinatown. For some reason just was working on Godfather a long time. Took Chinatown as like as a side gig because he was just kind of broke. He's like, yeah, I'll just knock this out on the weekends or something like that.
Good God.
Chinatown was a side gig. Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's one thing. Viggo's toes, gentlemen. What do you got?
I mean, I've got a few. Mine are quick though, I think.
Okay.
I think this is kind of really neat. You brought up the scene of, she's my sister, she's my daughter. So Faye Dunaway, that scene didn't look right with the slap and everything.
Right.
And Faye Dunaway was like, hit me. Just
actually hit me.
Yeah. And Nicholson did, and he felt guilty the whole time, even though it was her idea to do it. And it was just, so that was the scene that's actually in the movie is an actual slap in the face, which is pretty neat.
Yeah.
You could not get away with that.
He was a big guy too. And this is the woman, like Ebert, as Ebert said, just kind of looks like China, like porcelain. I mean, he really got it in there.
And you're right, Annie. You would not be able to get away with that on set.
No, could you imagine, like Chris Evans or somebody like, Liam or what's his face, Chris Hemsworth or one of those guys just hauling off and belting Scarlett Johansson?
Right.
No way.
Even though
male physiques are also like a little bit different in movies these days. I mean, like Nicholson's a pretty regular looking dude by comparison.
Right.
Yeah, you're right.
You're right. This next one's kind of neat because it's kind of recent. As of November 3rd, 2025, that's the day that Diane Ladd, one of the actresses in the movie, died. Nicholson and Dunaway are the only surviving principal members from Chinatown.
Interesting.
Cast members.
Wow.
Diane Ladd, I believe, played the original fake Evelyn Mulray.
That's right.
Yeah. Sessions there. And then we talked about Two Jakes. And this one I thought is pretty funny because you guys are big into the Letterboxd. This film is in the official top 250 narrative feature films on Letterboxd.
Okay.
So do we count Polanski as one of the principal members of the cat? Because he's still alive, isn't he?
Yeah, he's in his mid to late 80s. He's just been in Switzerland since since longer than we've been alive. He fled the country in 79, and he has not come back to the States since then. But yeah, still around.
He's 92.
92.
92.
Oh, no.
Wow.
Well, only the good die young.
Yeah, no shit, right?
Yeah,
I didn't have much to add on Viggo's toes. I mean, I read through the entirety of IMDb's trivia portion for this movie, and a lot of it was so kind of dense but it was a lot about like how this was based on a true story.
The historical connections are like an entire different episode almost.
Yeah. There was a lot of that stuff. A lot about talking about how the final line of the movie, let it go, Jack. It's Chinatown or whatever the actual is one of the most quoted movie quotes of all time, all that kind of stuff. But I didn't really come up with anything that I thought was like really juicy, interesting.
Oh, you had to listen to some of the podcasts I've been rocking out the last couple of days, my friend.
Yeah, maybe that's where I should have gone.
That's really where the juice is.
What else do you have? Either of you, for that matter.
Naveen, you want to go, or you want me to kind of get into like the dirt?
I mean, I don't have a lot of dirt or anything at all about that. I just have one that I thought was funny, was that the characters in the movie would pronounce Los Angeles, Los Angeles, or Alameda, and then San Pedro rather than San Pedro.
Right.
But I guess that was part of the time the LA residents would actually call it that way. And actually, residents of San Pedro still call it San Pedro to this day.
When I was working in Santa Barbara, I was repeatedly informed how bad my pronunciation of every California town was my time there. That's different part of the world. Jack Nicholson, as they were dating this, one quick second. John Huston, I should say maybe like a little bit more like his performance. He's a big dude.
Yeah.
He's a big, just treacly disposition and mean little eyes, as Ebert described him. But he was a extremely kind of like accomplished, mostly sort of known as like a director. He did like the Treasure, like the Sierra Madre, I think also the Maltese Falcon, like a bunch of other ones. But he got into acting later in his life because he was this big, giant, kind of polite but also kind of really scary dude. He was also the father of Angelica Houston. People our age know her best as Morticia Addams from like the 90s Addams Family film. Jack and Angelica were dating at this point. The whole scene where Giddys and Cross are having lunch, and they bring out like the fish with a whole head on it, just kind of staring up at Jack. What was actually happening at that point? As Houston is he reportedly was pretty drunk for like the majority of like the shots he actually did. But he's staring down Jack Nicholson and just being like, "Did you fuck my daughter? Did you fuck my daughter? What do you want with my daughter?" When they filmed that, and Jack Houston was actually on set that day and was standing about 10 feet off camera.
Oh man.
Yeah. I read that.
Yeah. Jack Nicholson was the least crazy motherfucker, like, on like this entire, like, and it just from everything I've kind of read about the dude, supposedly as kind of intense and method is he as an actor, like everything, all the reports is like he's just a pretty normal, chill, kind of just easy to work with, a kind of just like serious but kind of like a good natured dude. Like, he and Polanski, however, got into a fight once because Polanski wanted it on set. Came into Nicholson's trailer demanding that he come on set. That instant, Nicholson was watching the Lakers game, little TV that he had, and he's like, can you relax? There's a minute left of the game. The game went into overtime. The game went into double overtime, and Polanski's like, "I need you on set." And Nicholson's like, "I'm not going to leave my trailer until the game is done." Polanski responded by grabbing a mop, by beating the shit out of Nicholson's TV with a mop, breaking the TV, then whipped the mop at Nicholson. Nicholson was just pretty, just like I said, a volunteer firefighter, pretty sizable guy. Kind of just stood up, started throwing shit at Polanski. They chased each other out of the trailer. When they ran out of shit to throw at each other, they started like pulling their own clothes off and throwing clothes at each other. And at one point, like, the fight got so heated, Nicholson's like, "Fuck you, then I'm not getting on set." Jumped into his own car in his underwear. Polanski was also in his underwear at this point. Jumped into his car and followed, and they just had like this fucking like kind of drag race kind of going through L.A. They finally like reportedly sort of pulled off at one point. They kind of both broke at the same time. Got out of their cars, looked at each other in their underwear, and just started like fucking cracking up.
Wow.
How much cocaine was involved or not involved in that? Just wasn't really
Yeah.
And then my favorite one of these things is that the real fights in this movie happened between Polanski and Faye Dunaway. They were always at each other's throats. They always had kind of different opinions about how the scene should be performed, how she should be dressed, how distressed looking, how she should do like her makeup. Part of the thing with Dunaway kind of telling Nicholson to kind of slap her in the face, she's like, "I want to get out ahead of Roman because he's probably going to tell you to do it anyway. So let's get this part over with." He got so mad. Polanski got so mad at Dunaway in one particular scene because she had like a spare thread of hair that just kind of kept getting in her face during the shot. He actually reached out and yanked the hair out of her head.
Jeez.
To make sure that they had a clean shot.
Yikes.
But my favorite thing of this was during the last scene where Evelyn, she's in the car, she's trying to drive away with her daughter. She ends up kind of crashing the car. Polanski was so intense on getting this right that he would not let Dunaway go to the bathroom during any of these scenes. He just gave her a bunch of jars to piss in while she was sitting in that car, and she had to do like the same scene over and over and over again. At one point, she goes driving off. Polanski calls cut. He comes over to the car. He's like, let me change one thing, and then we got to run that scene again. And Faye Dunaway was so just done with him at this point. She actually kind of took one of the jars of piss and just like whipped it in his face.
Ugh.
Yeah.
He probably liked it.
Different era.
Yeah.
Literally before our time. So,
Literally.
Yeah, like I said. Normal movie, normal people. Let's wind it down there on Chinatown. Naveen, you had like a little quiz for us? You wanted to do?
Yeah, a little short
survey?
quiz here, and then we can do together here. So I'm actually gonna share my screen with you. Not my screen, but at least that tab there. And just a little
All right, there we go.
thing I found real quick that, I'm not gonna be able to do well, so I figured we'd all do it together. And see what collectively we can figure out here. So we've got a little multiple choice quiz, about 10 questions, and we'll see how we do. So you guys in?
Let's do it.
Give it a try.
All right, here we go. First question is, in 1967, Sidney Poitier starred in which 1967 movie, where we are reminded he is to be called Mr. Tibbs, Tibbs. Is it Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, Mississippi Burning, In the Heat of the Night, or To Kill a Mockingbird?
Okay, so we can take two off the board right away. To Kill a Mockingbird. I do not believe Poitier was in that. I Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. He was, but it's just it's a comedic drama about kind of interracial dating in the 60s that he started with Katharine Hepburn. So To Kill a Mockingbird, he wasn't in. Guess Who's Coming to Dinner is not really a noir. That leaves Mississippi Burning and In the Heat of Night. Andy, anything to narrow down further there?
I don't have anything to narrow it down other than immediately, even before you said all of that, In the Heat of the Night is what jumped out at me. But I have nothing to base that on other than that was the one that seemed like the right answer to me.
All right. In the Heat of Night is about a Harlem detective who ends up in a real fucked up part of Mississippi for a weekend. It has a very famous scene where he kind of goes up, where like the Harlem detective, just African American, he goes up to this kind of wealthy, kind of Noah Cross type, just one of like the mucky mucks of town, and he asks him, he asks. He just asks like a standard investigative question. The guy slaps him, and he immediately like slaps him back in return. Huge kind of like moment of the movie. Some in the back of my head says maybe that wasn't Sidney Poitier. It might have been like a different guy, but I'm pretty sure it's In the Heat of the Night. So that answer makes the most sense to me.
All right, let's go for it.
Yeah.
So let's see. So I can change it, but it's not telling us if we've got it right or wrong. So I guess we'll.
All right. So yeah, let's go all the way through.
We'll find out at the end. Yeah.
All right. Number 2. What 1960 movie follows the rise and fall of a ruthless crime syndicate and was based on a book by the assistant district attorney who successfully prosecuted the real gang portrayed in the film? Dial M for Murder, Murder by Contract, Murder Inc., Murderer's Row, based on a book by the assistant attorney.
The only one I think I can take off the board here is Dial M for Murder, which is a Hitchcock film from around that era, and that was more kind of a sort of suspense noir that wasn't based on a real story at all. Gotcha. Murder Inc. feels like a little too contemporary name, so either Murder by Contract or Murderer's Row. I'll throw it to Andy as a.
Dial M for Murder is the only of those 4 movies that I'm familiar with, or that I've even heard of, for that matter. So I would be completely guessing once again. I would say Murder by Contract.
Murder by Contract makes sense to me.
Gotcha. Murderer's Row sounds familiar, but again, I don't know any of them except for, again, for Murder as well.
The third and fourth one feel like newer names than like a 1960 film.
Gotcha. All right, let's go with Murder by Contract. Is that the consensus?
Yeah.
Sure.
Cool. All right, seeing how well we know our Neo-Noir here. Which 1960 Rat Pack, number three, which 1960 Rat Pack movie began with a flawless heist and ended with the stolen money being incinerated? The Heist, Ocean's 11, The Italian Job, The Maltese Falcon. Sounds like Ocean's 11 to me.
Yeah, this is definitely Ocean's 11. There's a local cocktail bar that I would frequent back in the day in Vegas that would just kind of play either this or Godfather Part 2 on repeat. Ocean's 11, the original one, not a particularly good movie. It's actually mostly consists of like the guys in the Rat Pack fucking prank calling each other and wearing like ugly sweaters.
Which is, I think, what they just did. I think that was just like an average.
That was some gangster shit back in the day. But this is Ocean's 11.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right, Ocean's 11. Maybe we'll get one right out of all these 10. All right, number 4. George C. Scott was nominated for Best Supporting Actor as the ruthless manager Bert Gordon in which 1961 Robert Rawson film featuring the game of pool. The Color of Money, The Hustler, The Sting, Double Indemnity. The only one that I know of that has pool in it is Color of Money, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong.
The Sting was a famous Paul Newman and Robert Redford joint, so I think we can take that off. That leaves The Hustler and Double Indemnity.
Gotcha.
And between those two.
Well, so you don't think it's the Color of Money?
That feels like an 80s. So this is 61.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That feels like a newer title to me, honestly.
Okay. Yeah, you might be right about that.
You could be right about that as well.
Right.
I personally, I think it's The Hustler.
I do Double Indemnity sounds either 70s or 80s. So The Hustler would probably make the most sense.
Cool. I can go with that. Here we go. Number 5. Excuse me. Cape Fear, released in 1962, centered on a lawyer terrorized by the person he helped convict years before. The 1991 remake starred Robert De Niro as the villain, but who played the same role in the original? So basically, who played Robert De Niro's villain in 1962?
Ooh.
That's a tough one. I don't know why Telly Savalas is bringing...
The choices are
Robert Mitchum, Lee Marvin,
yes.
Telly Savalas, and Lee Van Cleef.
I don't know who Lee Van Cleef is.
Same.
Yep.
But I do know the other 3.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, Telly Savalas is what jumps out at me.
I would kind of say Robert Mitchum, just because he's kind of a scary-looking dude, and it's kind of a prestige role. But Naveen, you want to tie break there?
I mean, Telly Savalas is just coming up, just probably because I know him more than the others. That's probably why it's coming up there. But yeah, I'll go with Robert Mitchum. Let's go with that. So, everybody cool with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Number 6, Brainwashing Sleeper Agents, a Communist Plot, and Angela Lansbury, all featured in which 1962 thriller? In the Heat of the Night, Anatomy of a Murder, The Manchurian Candidate, and Stalag 17.
This feels like Manchurian Candidate.
Yeah, Brainwashing.
Yep. Sleeper Agents. So we're going with Manchurian Candidate.
Yeah.
Number 7. That was a quick one.
Yeah.
Which 1961 movie featuring Robert Douglas and Vera Miles focused on a scheme to double-cross the syndicate, and syndicate in quotes for the listeners out there, and the attempt of a few honest policemen trying to eliminate corruption within the city? Is it The Lawbreakers, The Big Sleep, White Heat, Sunset Boulevard?
This one rolled some dice. I
think White Heat is a more recent movie than that.
Right.
And the
Lawbreakers is a little too obvious.
Yeah. I'm gonna go Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Sounds good. I will go with that one as well. Looks like I hit this by accident, so we can always change that. Number 8, in 1967, which chilling movie based on a Truman Capote novel appeared in theaters? Is it Big Heat, Murder Inc., In Cold Blood, or Cape Fear?
I can actually answer this off the top of my head because this is a book I've read, but In Cold Blood is the name here.
Okay, I had no guess for that one, so.
All right, I will
a little bit. I believe, and just we'll issue a correction next episode if I get this wrong. But one of Robert Towne's 70s writing gigs was taking over and reworking a supposedly really terrible screenplay adaptation Truman Capote had done originally of The Great Gatsby. That would eventually go on to star Robert Redford and Mia Farrow. We watched it in high school. It was really not good.
Gotcha.
Noted.
Yeah. All right. Number 9. Which Stanley Kubrick film was supposed to open in theaters at the end of November 1963, but was delayed due to the assassination of President Kennedy? Is it 7 Days in May, Dr. Strangelove, or How I Stopped Worrying and Loved the Bomb, Dr. Dolittle, or 2001: A Space Odyssey?
I can speak to this off the top of my head. This is Dr. Strangelove. 2001 was the late 60s. 7 Days in May and Dr. Dolittle were not films made by Kubrick.
Yeah. Dr. Strangelove is one that stuck out to me. And number 10, the last one here. Another movie was delayed because of President Kennedy's assassination, slated for release in December of 1963. Which film depicted a conspiracy to overthrow the president by several high-ranking military officers? Any other hints may give it away, but I guess there's a hint. Oh, I didn't notice that. There was hints on all of them.
Oh,
I didn't notice that at the beginning, so we could go back if you want and get a hint.
Nope.
We've come too far.
Top of our head.
Here we go. The choices for the 10th one again.
Raw dogging noir quiz.
Yeah.
So a film depicted a conspiracy to overthrow the president by several high-ranking military officers. The choices are 7 Days in May, Executive Action, All the President's Men, or Power Play. All right.
All the President's Men
was a Nixon era thriller.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
That's the one that stuck out to me. I was going to go with that one.
I'm pretty sure it had Seagal.
Really?
Steven Seagal?
Yeah.
Or Katie Seagal?
I'd watch that movie.
Hell yeah.
I'm just don't even show me anything sort of like just below like the cast list. Executive. This is I think 7 Days in May.
Okay.
7 Days in May. All right. I will do it. And
Yeah,
here we go. Yep. And let's check it out. So we're submitting my answers. Boom. Oh no, they want to.
Okay.
Number 1, in 1967, Sidney Poitier starred in which 1967 movie where we are reminded he is to be called Mr. Tibbs? It is In the Heat of the Night. Sidney Poitier and Henry Belafonte had nearly been killed by the KKK in Mississippi, leading Poitier to insist the movie be filmed in the North.
Shit.
Wow. The majority of the filming took place around Sparta, Illinois. A few scenes were shot in Tennessee where Poitier slept with a gun under his pillow for protection. Wow.
Jesus.
The movie portrays the struggle and racism a northern black detective faced when working for a Mississippi sheriff.
Okay.
Wow, that's awesome. I mean,
So we'll see, it's pretty good.
Not that it happened, but that was awesome, interesting. Facts and things.
It's just thinking about clips of the movie that I've seen. That's wild. They filmed it mostly in Illinois.
Right. That's wow. All right. Number 2, what 1960 movie follows the rise and fall of a ruthless crime syndicate and was based on a book by the assistant district attorney who successfully prosecuted the real gang portrayed in the film? We chose Murder by Contract. We are wrong. It is Murder, Inc.
Murder, Inc. That's a really, maybe it's a kind of like that kind of feels like an early 90s hip hop film, or that it feels a lot more contemporary than that. I'm surprised we got that wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
But I guess a little fact for it, the movie dramatized the rise and fall of Murder Incorporated, a ruthless Brooklyn gang in the 1930s. A more fictionalized version of the same event was The Enforcer, a 1951 film starring Humphrey Bogart.
Interesting.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Number 3, which 1960 Rat Pack movie began with a flawless heist and ended with the stolen money being incinerated? We are correct with Ocean's 11. Do we want to go through that, or we just want to move on?
That was one of the easiest of the quizzes. I think we just keep going.
Yeah. Sounds good. Excuse me. Number 4, George C. Scott was nominated for Best Supporting Actor as the ruthless manager Burt Gordon in which 1961 Robert Rossen film featuring the game of pool? And the correct answer is The Hustler, of which we got. Yeah. So following the fall and self-destruction of a small-time pool hustler trying to make it big, The Hustler starred Paul Newman and Jackie Gleason as Fast Eddie Felson and Minnesota Fats, respectively.
Oh, a different Paul Newman movie.
A
Interesting.
different Paul Newman movie. That's funny.
Yeah. Number 5, Cape Fear, released in 1962, centered on a lawyer terrorized by the person he helped convict years before. The 1991 remake starred Robert De Niro as the villain, but who played the same role in the original? Robert Mitchum was correct.
Oh.
So starred as Max Cady, an ex-con who went after the family of the lawyer that got him convicted. Other movies starring Robert Mitchum include Heaven Knows Mr. Allison, 30 Seconds Over Tokyo, and Midway. Number 6, Brainwashing, Sleeper Agents, A Communist Plot, and Angela Lansbury, all featured in which 1962 thriller? We got correct as well. The Manchurian Candidate. I think that was, another easy one for us.
Yep.
Number 7, which 1961 movie featuring Robert Douglas and Vera Miles focused on a scheme to double-cross the syndicate, in quotes, and the attempt of a few honest policemen trying to eliminate corruption within the city? We got wrong with Sunset Boulevard. The correct answer is The Lawbreakers.
That was our second answer?
That was the one where we said it sounded too obvious.
Yeah. The movie tells of a plot to double-cross the unnamed syndicate and steal its money and the efforts of a few policemen to clean up corruption in the city and take down the syndicate. The television version of an 1960 Asphalt Jungle episode formed the basis of the movie. Interesting. The movie was never released in the United States, even though it was an American-made movie. Wow. Neat.
Different thought.
Yeah. Number 8, in 1967, which showing movie based on a Truman Capote novel appeared in theaters. That we got correct was In Cold Blood. Nice. Number 9, which Stanley Kubrick film was supposed to open in theaters at the end of 1963, but was delayed due to the assassination of President Kennedy? We also got Dr. Strangelove. And then number 10, the last one, another movie was delayed because of President Kennedy's assassination, slated for release in December of 1963, which film depicted a conspiracy to overthrow the president by several high-ranking military officers. It was 7 Days in May.
Nice.
So
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. We did pretty good. And not a sponsor or anything, but I will shout it out there. Funtrivia.com is where I found this little quiz from. And they were, you can choose it and then it automatically will correct it for you and give you the facts. So just throwing it out there for them, a little free publicity for them, but not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor. We just like their product.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good short quiz.
I like the fact we can all collectively go through this rather than having one unfortunate host have to proctor.
Right. Yeah, that was a lot of fun too. That's why I kind of found it and I was like, let me throw it out there to the guys.
Naveen, let's put a pin in this one. See at some point if they have Zootopia 2 trivia.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Naveen, let's see if we can pull that pin out and lose it.
All right. That can be established as well.
So, coming up next week, The King of New York. Another normal movie starring Christopher Walken.
Made by normal people.
A normal actor. Directed by Abel Ferreira, who is definitely a normal guy and not a character David Chase wrote for like a one-season arc on The Sopranos back in the day.
Have either of you guys watched this movie yet?
I have not.
It's been a while, but yeah. So this is going to be assuming we get Eric back from Echo Park. This is going to be like the official start of our new to you Neo-Noir. Naveen, you have not seen this one yet?
Yes, because that's the whole premise, right? Was the new to me.
No, I'm just saying just in the last few days.
No, I got a little busy with the editing for Kingpin and Shaolin Soccer. They kind of came up together since I was waiting to do. I didn't have time to do the Godfather thing.
Right.
So they both kind of consisted there. So it was kind of nice to be able to do Chinatown in between as well. I have not seen it yet.
Andy, you have watched this film over the last few days.
I have.
And like the smile on his face right now, this is a this is going to be a great cycle.
I'm really looking forward to this conversation.
I'm glad Chinatown landed for you guys, Andy especially, and I think like the 4 films we got coming up first, King of New York, followed by my pick, The Long Good Friday, an 80 Bob Hoskins, a sort of British crime thriller where I'm just assuming he's just like a tiny guy running around and punching people and calling them cunts. And then Eric's pick, The Terminator, and then winding down on Old Boy. This is going to be a particularly good month of pod coming up, I think. So
Yes, indeed.
all right.
Yeah.
Naveen, if you could edit in like a little kind of sad trumpet music over this last part, let's wind down the episode. Waving you guys. Forget it, boys. It's podcast time. Take care, everyone.
All right.